What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sharp Sports Media, and it is August 3rd, which means there is football this month. In fact, there is football coming up in a couple of days. It's a matter of days, not weeks anymore, for preseason football to begin, and a matter of weeks for actual, meaningful football games. So, I just wanted to get across. What are my expectations for, and what am I thinking about the New York Giants and going into this season? What are my thoughts? What are the expectations for this team? And you gotta kind of toe the line a bit, because on one hand, you gotta have some optimism. You gotta have something to look forward to as a fan. If you don't, it's just hopelessness. And even every team in any sport always has at least one thing to look forward to. Even if their season looks slim, they're not going to win it all. It's going to be a lot of losing. You have something, at least at the beginning of the year, to hang your hat on. Now, you cannot be, you also have to kind of be a realist. I know there's people who think the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Spoiler alert, we're not. If we do, you could come at me, and I would graciously accept if we won the Super Bowl. Oh, that'd be amazing, but it's not going to happen this year, unless something crazy happens that would be one of the craziest runs we've ever seen. It's just not going to happen. But there is a middle ground where you see you're realist, but you have a little hope. So you maybe give yourself an extra game or two, or maybe you look, hey, this player can reach that goal. So I think my expectations for this team are very weird, though, because on one hand, the expectations with Daniel Jones are just, there is none. It's, for me, the expectations with Daniel Jones is just wait and see. Like, I have no expectations for Daniel Jones, really, if that's being honest. I am not going into this year expecting anything from Daniel Jones. He could be the worst quarterback in the league. He could be this year. Or he could be a top 15 quarterback in the league this year. Either or. I'm not going in with any expectation of him being terrible or him being good, because I just don't know with this dude. He shows you flashes of him being great, and then he makes you want to bang your head against the wall for doing some of the stupidest thing a guy can do. I think he has Carson Wentz syndrome. And now that he's in the division, he might get maybe he gets a worse case of it, or maybe now he has a cure. He got the vaccine. But yeah, he has a case of Carson Wentz syndrome. Like, it's so frustrating to watch him sometimes, and because the talent is there, it's just, can he play like it? But if the reason for hope, we'll get to that right now. Reason for hope in this team is, one, the offensive line is a lot better. You got Andrew Thomas coming back, and you just drafted Evan Neal with the 7th overall pick. Those are your two tackles, and they're going to be your two tackles for hopefully the next 10 to 15 years. 10 to 15. You don't got to worry about drafting another tackle until I'm hopefully married, or I'm a big sports personality by then. That's the timeline for these two you want them to be good for that long. That's the hope. And not being able to draft, not have to worry about that for a long time would be fantastic as a Giants fan. And now your interior, it's not a bunch of studs like the tackles are, but they're serviceable. John Feliciano is a good center. He's not a stud, but he's a solid center who plays pretty well. Mark Glukowski, coming from the Colts, is a solid player. He's going to be a good guard. Is he going to be mauling guys left and right and be the next, like his former teammate Quentin Nelson? No. but he's not going to be a traffic cone out there. He's going to be able to block dudes and open up lanes and be able to pull and and help block linebackers and walk downfield and make good plays. The other guard is a question. You don't know who is it going to be. Does Nick Gaints come back from injury and steal that spot? Is it going to be Shane Lemieux, who didn't really have a great season last year, but this guy plays the game hard, is a physical dude, and you never know. He has some of the intangibles, you would say, to be a good guard. Can he prove it with his tangibles? Or is it the third-round pick you just took, the freakishly huge Joshua Ezeudu in the third round? I think if you have one question mark on the offensive line as a Giant, it's a huge improvement, especially with your two bookend tackles. Really, that is something to look forward to. I think they're going to have around, if I had to guess, around that 13 to 16 range. I think that's where that offensive line will rank this year. Like an average O-line. And you know what? That's a lot better than what we've had being in the bottom 5 offensive lines usually. It's a big step up. It's especially for Daniel Jones, which gives you some hope that maybe he could turn it around. So there is hope for Daniel Jones. Again, not going in with any expectations with Daniel Jones, but there's hope. Saquon Barkley healthy. You know, because of that offensive line, he apparently in camp, with training camp being started he has looked great in camp. His explosiveness looks like the old Saquon. So I have a lot of hope, and I have some expectations for Saquon. I expect this dude to, I wouldn't say I expect him to get back to year one form, but I expect him to be a top-tier running back. Not maybe a top 5 running back, but just one of the upper echelon running backs in the league. And with him, if he was able to play like that, changes this team dramatically. You got to worry about Saquon at all times. Run, pass, screen, going downfield on it, even like a go route. Because he can do that. You saw that. So he is a huge X factor as well, but I have hope for him. He's looked very good in training camp, and he can provide so much offense for this team. I love what Saquon, when he's going, I think he's one, if not the best running back in the league. That's if he can get going. Haven't seen that in a while. But the other side, the defense, the pass rush. You got Kayvon Thibodeau, and he's looked very good in training camp. Very good in training camp. So, and seeing the battles of him and Neal just go boom, boom. Just two mountains clashing. It's great to see. We haven't had a pass rusher like a pure dominant pass rusher since Jason Pierre-Paul, really. So, and that's what the Giants are really built on. So having him with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence clogging up the middle, you're hoping from a step up from Azeez Ojulari, who had a nice rookie season. This pass rush could be something good. It really could. You don't have that stud yet. Well, Kayvon Thibodeau can prove you wrong, but currently you don't have a stud like a Bosa or a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt, but you got a bunch of very good guys that can cause some problems for an offensive line and an offensive whole. Now, where there are some problems, again, I talked about Daniel Jones. The biggest problem, that could be, I'd say a solution, not a problem, but yeah, it's the secondary. It's the secondary for this Giants team. I love the safety room. I think Xavier McKinney is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a top 10 safety in this league. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he could be a Pro Bowl kind of safety. That's how I am very high on Xavier McKinney. And when you talk about maybe having a little bit more optimism, seeing a guy step up, that's what I believe in Xavier McKinney. That maybe like Saquon Barkley, I believe they'll have bounce back years. Or Saquon bounce back. I think Xavier McKinney just takes another step up. And then you got a Dory Jackson, who when he's healthy, he's a very good corner, very fast, can be physical, and he's not an amazing CB1, but he's a solid corner. The question marks then come after that. the free safety. Right now, it's probably Julian Love with their recent draft pick Dane Belton breaking his collarbone. I think Julian Love was the favorite anyway, but I am pretty higher on Julian Love than other people. I think he plays the game very smart, has a very high football IQ, and hasn't really been given the chance. And when he has, I've enjoyed watching him play. So I don't think he's going to be a stud, but I think he could be a solid piece and a solid player on this Giants team. So I might be a little higher on Julian Love than others. But the real question, or the biggest issue, the biggest hole on this Giants roster, cornerback 2. I don't know who it is going to be. Darnay Holmes has been probably one of the best players in camp, but you view him more as a slot cornerback. So could he move outside? Maybe. Is it going to be the guy you just drafted in Cordell Flott from LSU? Maybe, but I think he's too. That's one of the draft picks I really didn't like from the Giants. I think I view him more as a slot corner. He's too skinny. This guy's got no muscle or real weight on him. I like his attitude and his aggressiveness, but I think bigger receivers are just gonna bully him. So unless he could I think maybe in the next couple years if he puts on some weight, but for this year, I don't really like that option. Maybe Aaron Robinson, who, again, another slot kind of guy. You just need one of them to kind of move outside and make an impact, and you're looking pretty good on defense. I mean, the linebacking core, you got Blake Martinez returning, who was hurt last year. Love some Blake Martinez. I'm pretty high on Micah McFadden. From other people as being from going to IU right now, I've seen what this guy does. He's a tackling machine. He's basically a mini Blake Martinez. That's what I would call Micah McFadden. I think those two guys are very good against the run. I think our depth might be a little tested in passing corners or passing linebackers. Like Tate Crowder, Quincy Roche, Carter Coughlin, who's more of a pass rusher. Carter Coughlin, Cam Brown. So there's definitely a bunch of questions still with this team, but on the defensive side. But I think if the pass rush can get there, it's going to alleviate a lot. So I definitely have a lot of hope for this defense. Going back to the offense, I have hope for this offense, but it's mixed because, again, it's Daniel Jones. The receivers have to have a bounce back year. You saw so much potential in Kadarius Toney. This dude can be so electric. Wan'Dale Robinson can kind of be similar to that. Kenny Golladay has to have a better year than he did last year. He has to. And Sterling Shepard's just the vet of the group who's going to get as long as he stays healthy, he's going to get his yards. So it's kind of weird. It's definitely weird because this team has a lot of very good players, just not a lot of elite players. So it makes it interesting, and you still got a couple holes. And the biggest thing that can alleviate that is elite or very good, great quarterback play. And you don't know if you're going to get good, great quarterback play or dog crap quarterback play. So Daniel Jones, I feel like the two biggest positions I'll say 3. We'll give it 3. Number 1 obviously is Daniel Jones. He's the biggest X factor on this team. Number 2, QB or CB cornerback number 2. Who is our second cornerback on the outside, and how well does he adjust to playing outside? Does he get burned? Are we going to need to always have safety help on that side, forcing a Dory Jackson to be one-on-one all the time? And then number 3, just while watching the offensive line, it's going to be improved, but just how much does it improve? How much does Evan Neal really change this team, and how much is adding a bunch of veteran guards and centers really help this team? So when you're going into this year, it's definitely weird because there's a lot of question marks, and they can be pretty good, but they can also be pretty bad. The thing that changes the Giants is their schedule. I know some people have the Giants pick like 4. I think the lowest I saw the Giants winning was 2 games and 3 games. And I just don't see that. I really don't. just because if we were playing the AFC West, then yeah, yikes. We're playing the AFC South this year, and they're not. I really don't love any of those teams besides the Colts. I think the Titans are going to take a step back, although we play them week 1, and I don't think we win that game. But the Jags and the Texans. I think the Texans are going to be probably the worst team in the league. Maybe not, but down there. And the Jags are going to have a better team than last year. I still don't like them. I don't think they're going to be any good. So, and the rest of your schedule really isn't that tough. So, if you're looking at it, we'll go game by game right now on what I think. Week 1 at Tennessee. I think still with Derrick Henry on that team, it's going to be tough. I am one of the guys that is so low on Ryan Tannehill. I never liked Ryan Tannehill on Titans. I thought he's a system quarterback. He was a very good quarterback in it, a very good system quarterback, very good with the Titans. If you needed to have him win a game, going like scrambling or making a play or just like kind of using by himself, I never really believed in him. So, but I do think the Titans win that game. So you're 0-1. Then you go and you're home for the next 3 games. First one against Carolina. I think Carolina's going to be one of the worst teams in the league, like the Texans. You get a win there. Then you're home against Dallas. This is a tough one. Dallas usually has our number, so I'm ultimately going to pick us to lose this game. So we fall to 1-2. Then you got the Bears at home. We said 3-game home streak, and I think the Bears, arguably the worst team in the league. They got no help for Justin Fields. That makes you 2-2. Then you're going to London to play Green Bay. I love Green Bay and their roster. I know they're a little wide receiver needy, but still, any team with Aaron Rodgers, I think's got a shot to win a Super Bowl. That's a loss. You're now 2-3. You play the Ravens at home, 2-4. Again, Ravens are, I think, gonna win their division. I might be a little higher on the Ravens and a couple other people. Then you got away the Jags and the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks could be one of the worst teams in the league. Jags are gonna be better, but I still like you winning that. So I lost count. Excuse me. So 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-4, 4. So you're 4-4 entering the bye week. If you're 4-4 entering the bye week, that's, as a Giants fan, you got to be pretty happy with you. You're 500. You haven't really. You're starting to play. You got meaningful games still. You're not. You didn't start the year 0-3, so that's not the worst. That's a solid start, I believe, for the Giants. Then you're at home versus the Texans. Again, I talked about the Texans. I think that's a win. Then a sneaky game against the Lions at home. I think if we were on the road, I might have picked them to lose because I like this Lions getting a lot better. I love Dan Campbell as a coach, but they just don't. I don't think they have all the talent, and they're a lot too young. I think give them a year or two, and this team could be dangerous, especially if they get a quarterback. They need a quarterback, but I'll pick us to win that game. So we are 6-4 now. Now is where some trouble might hit. You play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving at Dallas. That's a loss. Sorry. You're home versus Washington. I am not high on Washington. Pretty low on Washington, to be honest. I'm going to pick us to beat Washington. Then you go home versus Philly, so you're now at, 7-5. Then you're home versus the Eagles. This is a toss-up game, but I think we definitely could win this game at home. But I have the Eagles winning the division, even though I am very low on Hurts. Ultimately, I have the Eagles winning that. Then you play Washington on the road. I think you split with Washington. I think Washington ends up on the base. I have Washington on the basement. I just don't believe in Carson Wentz at all. I love Riverboat Ron. I think their defensive line is very good, but ultimately I don't believe in Carson Wentz at all. Then you're away at the Vikings. I think the Vikings just have too much talent. I think with Thielen and Jefferson, that's going to be a tough matchup for us. Give it to the Vikings. Then you end with then you have the Colts. And I think the Colts win their division. I think they're a sick team. I think they're very good. I had the Colts winning that one at home. And then the Eagles, I have you losing to the Eagles. So I do have us losing the last 5 games of the year to go 7-10. But realistically, that's not a bad... If we go 7-10 and Daniel Jones plays very good, I would consider that a win, to be honest. I would consider that a win. But even if he goes and Daniel Jones plays terrible, would I consider it a win? Yes and no, just because you know what you have in this team and you just need a quarterback now. And then you can go and trade up and go get that quarterback. So if you get to 7 wins, I think regardless, it's a successful season. I think playoffs is going to be tough, very tough. Is it plausible? Maybe. But I don't think you should go into the season expecting to make the playoffs. I think the floor is probably 5 games. I don't think we lose more or win less than 5 games this year. I think that's our floor. I think our ceiling 9 games, and that's if I think realistically that's if Daniel Jones plays like a top 10, a top 15, top 10 quarterback. Saquon's got 1,000 yards. Kenny Galladay's got 1,000 yards. Kadarius Toney's got 1,000 yards. One of your cornerbacks steps up, and Darnay Holmes is a very good cornerback too. Xavier McKinney makes a Pro Bowl. Kayvon Thibodeau's Rookie of the Year. So to go 9 wins would be a lot. But I think that's your stealing. But overall, I have this team going 7-10. Still, I'm looking forward to this year. I might be going to training camp next week, so maybe we'll do something about that. Just seeing how I see the team live, and if there's anybody standing out, anybody that didn't look too good. But let me know what you guys think of this Giants season. What are your expectations? When you look at this depth chart, what do you like? What do you don't like? Do you think they make the playoffs? Do you think they win the Super Bowl? Do you think they're not? Do you think they get the first pick in the draft? Let me know your opinion on this Giants team in the comments below, or message me on Twitter. Twitter will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.